A jackpot lottery is the only business on Earth that can sell a product with a 99.9999% failure rate and still have a line of people waiting outside the door to buy it. Buy a Powerball ticket and push $2 across the gas station counter. The state expects to keep $1 of that $2 on every single ticket forever. And over enough tickets, it'll be right to the penny. It doesn't need luck. It doesn't need you to be an idiot. It doesn't need a single rigged ping pong ball. Because the thing you call a lottery is only a gamble from one side of the ticket. From the other side, it's arithmetic with a government stamp on top of it, which makes this next fact very hard to explain. When a jackpot hits $1 billion, the lottery company doesn't panic. They celebrate. The operators of the biggest games of chance on the planet actually desperately want you to win. You've got a business that mathematically cannot lose, cheering for you to take the grand prize. So, what are they actually selling? Because it isn't generosity. A lottery has never really sold money. It sells something else. One specific thing. And every flashing highway billboard, every colorful scratch-off, and every oversized novelty check exists to buy more of it. But before we go any further, I want to know one thing. What's the most you've ever won on a scratch-off or a lottery ticket? And be honest about what happened to it afterwards. Did you actually walk out of the store with the cash, or did you just hand it back across the counter for more tickets the next day? I have a suspicion that almost nobody watching this walked away with it, and I'd love to be proved wrong. Drop your number in the comments below, and while you're down there, hitting like and subscribe is the whole reason I can keep making these videos for you. Let's start with the revenue split, because everything else in this video is downstream of it. Every ticket sold is a small, permanent tax on the money moving across the counter. When you buy a ticket, you aren't betting against the house. The house takes its cut before the balls even drop. Generally, 50% goes to the prize pool. The other 50% goes to state taxes, retailer commissions, and administrative profit. The house edge on a roulette wheel is 5.26%. The house edge on a lottery ticket is 50%. But how did the government convince the public to accept a game with such a brutal house edge? The answer is one of the greatest PR campaigns of the 20th century. Back in the 1970s, American states had a crisis. They needed more revenue, but no politician wanted to be the guy who raised taxes. So they created state lotteries. And to make a state-run legal casino palatable to the public, they wrapped it in a magic phrase: it's for education. They ran ad campaigns promising that every ticket you bought would help build new schools and buy computers for kids. Sounds great, right? You aren't gambling, you're basically doing charity. But here is what accountants call the fungibility of money. If a state makes $1 billion from the lottery earmarked for schools, they don't actually increase the education budget by $1 billion. They just take $1 billion out of the original education budget to spend on roads or tax cuts and plug the lottery money into the newly created hole. The result? The schools don't get any richer, but the state gets a massive new money printing machine that nobody complains about. None of that matters on any single draw, though. On a single draw, the jackpot can pay out $1 billion to somebody. It matters because of the second half of the equation, and the second half is where the actual business hides. The lottery's income is the split, multiplied by how many tickets you buy, multiplied by how many people are buying them. The split is fixed by law, which leaves just one variable the lottery can actually attack: FOMO, the fear of missing out. Everything from here on in is a business trying to buy your attention as cheaply as it can. And once you know that's the product, the shape of the industry stops being surprising. Because if attention is what you're collecting, the perfect device isn't a modest $5 million jackpot. It's a prize that rolls over, never pays out early, and grows into a number so absurd it makes the evening news. In 2023, the American lottery industry pulled in over $113 billion. It paid out billions to state education funds and administrative costs on top of that. The image everyone has of the lottery, the live TV draw, the floating balls, the lucky numbers is only a fraction of the psychology. The real lottery is a business of selling hope. Here's how a jackpot actually works, because it's nothing like the myth. The mathematical probability of winning the Powerball is 1 in 292 million. You're more likely to be struck by lightning while being eaten by a shark. But the human brain isn't built to process odds that small. The relevant number isn't the mathematical probability. It's the psychological escape. Think about the physical act of buying a ticket. Why does the lottery hand you those little slips of paper with the bubbles that you have to fill out with a pencil? If the odds are purely random, why not just print out a quick pick for everyone to save time? It's because of something psychologists call the illusion of control. By letting you pick your kids' birthdays, your wedding anniversary, or your own personal lucky numbers, they make you feel like you have some tiny sliver of agency over something that is completely random. You aren't just buying a piece of paper, you're investing a piece of your identity into it. If a computer picks 4, 12, and 28 and it loses, you don't care. But if those numbers are your daughter's birthday and you don't buy a ticket that week, you'd torture yourself forever. They use that emotional attachment to guarantee you come back next week. You feed in $2, and for the next 3 days before the drawing, you get to daydream about quitting your job, buying an island, and telling your boss off. You aren't buying a financial asset. You're buying a $2 license to dream. That's why the machine cares so much about the rollover. When the jackpot is $20 million, regular people don't play. But when it rolls over and hits $800 million, the math says you lose the exact same $1 on your $2 ticket. But suddenly, the office pools start forming. The people who never gamble buy 5 tickets. The rollover is the most brilliant marketing campaign in history, funded entirely by the people who lost the week before. But the jackpot isn't the clever part. The clever part is what the lottery does to your change. Look at the scratch-off tickets sitting right next to the register. Modern scratch-offs let you play 10, 20, sometimes 50 games on one piece of cardboard. When you scratch off a matching symbol, you feel a rush. You do that even when the amount you won is exactly the amount you just paid for the ticket. Pay $10, win $10, and your brain throws a small party for you. Researchers call these losses disguised as wins or near misses. If you need one more cherry to win $50,000 and you scratch off a lemon, your physical response measured through skin conductance is about the same as a real win. And both are far above a plain loss. The ticket isn't built to take your money quickly. It's built to make losing feel survivable, even thrilling, for as long as possible. Because the longer you play, the more times your money goes around the loop. You win $4, you don't put it in your wallet. You hand it back to the cashier for 2 more tickets. Time on device? Now, walk away from the counter and look at the environment around it, because the state is running the same play at a bigger scale. For a long time, lotteries were quiet. Then they learned how to optimize visibility. Put the tickets immediately next to the cash register, so there's no doubt about what's available while you're waiting. Put massive, glowing LED billboards on the highway flashing the jackpot number, so you see it when you're stuck in traffic, commuting to a job you hate. And while we're here, let's kill the lucky store myth, because it comes up every single time. Lotteries don't rig the game so that certain gas stations in the middle of nowhere sell more winning tickets. Doing that would be a federal crime and violate essentially every gaming commission policy in existence. The stores that sell the most winning tickets are simply the stores that sell the most tickets. The law of large numbers takes care of the rest. The real methods are cheaper and much better documented. One of them is the unclaimed prize. Every year, hundreds of millions of dollars in winning tickets are simply lost in the laundry, thrown away, or forgotten. That's a 100% profit margin for the lottery, a massive windfall generated by pure human error. Then there's the part of this that the annual reports don't put on the cover, and it's the honest answer to the question in the title. Lottery revenue isn't a thin slice taken from a very large number of middle-class people. It's enormously concentrated. Just like any other addictive industry, the lottery operates on the Pareto principle. Roughly 80% of the revenue comes from 20% of the players. In mobile gaming, they call these people whales. In the lottery industry, they call them core players. In numerous state studies, researchers have found that lottery tickets act as a highly regressive tax. A massive percentage of scratch-off and lottery revenue comes from the lowest income neighborhoods. It isn't millions of people losing $2 on a weekend. It's a small group of people spending a significant portion of their paycheck continuously, day after day. They aren't playing for fun. They are playing because it feels like the only viable retirement strategy available to them. Meanwhile, the billion-dollar jackpot crowd provides the atmosphere, the media hype, and the perfect political cover. And you know what the most ironic part of all this is? Even if you beat that 1 in 292 million odds, the system still taunts you. It's called the winner's curse. Statistics reveal a chilling reality. A massive percentage of jackpot winners declare bankruptcy within just a few years. They get swarmed by lawsuits from old friends, extorted by family members, and preyed upon by fraudulent financial advisors. The truth is, the jackpot functions perfectly when it is just a dream. The second it becomes reality, it destroys lives, which just proves the point all over again. The state isn't selling you financial freedom. They are selling you a temporary anesthetic. So how do jackpots make money? Not by praying you lose. Losing is guaranteed. It takes care of itself, and that 50% split has barely moved in decades. They make money by collecting your imagination. The math decides the rate, but the rollovers decide the size. Everything in the industry is an attempt to buy your attention more cheaply than the last draw. The $2 price point buys an impulse. The near miss on a scratch-off buys another 5 minutes at the counter. And the billion-dollar billboard buys an entire week of attention from someone who was never going to gamble at all. All of that leaves the lottery industry somewhere genuinely uncomfortable right now, because the one number they can't calculate is jackpot fatigue. 10 years ago, a $300 million jackpot caused a national frenzy. Today, people barely get off the couch for less than $700 million. To keep the frenzy alive, games like Powerball literally changed their matrix in 2015. They made it harder to win the jackpot, purposely ensuring longer streaks of nobody winning just so the numbers would get bigger. That's the one risk the model never priced in. The lottery can survive any jackpot winner because the prize money was already funded by the losers. What it can't survive is a country deciding that the odds are simply too ridiculous to care anymore. The math protects them from bad luck. It doesn't protect them from apathy. So, stand at that gas station counter one more time and watch somebody trade a $20 bill for a handful of cardboard that'll be worthless in 3 minutes. You'll finally see what the system is reaching for. It was never really after your dollar. It was after your hope. If you got something out of this, dropping a like and hitting subscribe genuinely helps keep this channel going. And if you want to know more about how the businesses around you were really built, our video on how insurance companies actually make money is the natural next step. Or just work through the money and business playlist on the channel. I'll see you in the next one.